Hey there, YouTubers. Kit in Order here, and you're watching Session Report, the show that takes you to the gamer's table to share in the surprises that come out during play. And we are playing Paperback by Tim Fowers. And if you haven't watched the first video, what are you doing here? Go back and watch it. I'm not going to explain this again. But basically, we're playing a Paperback solo variant. We're basically playing the cooperative variant right out of the box. With a couple of exceptions. We're playing with Mr. Honeycutt's, that's a Board Game Geek user, Mr. Honeycutt's variant, where each time you put out a cube on one of these fame cards, which you have to do at the end of every turn, you don't purchase one, it also increases the cost. Now, I might be either abandoning this variant very quickly, or kind of taking the gas out of it a little bit. Is that an expression? Letting the gas out of it? Letting the air out of it? I think that's it. Basically taking the teeth out of it a little bit because it was, I think, intended for a solo game, and we are playing two-handed, so it's basically the same as playing a two-player cooperative game. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to afford a 6 or 7 cent card anytime soon, and I'm almost reached the end of the game. Almost reached the loss condition. But the other cool thing we're doing here, we're playing with the individual player powers, and we're playing with a theme, a paranormal story. And each word that I'm building with my hand, I'm also kind of building a narrative around it. So we're talking about a paranormal story. Like I said, go back and watch the first video. Don't just start here. That would be madness. But basically we're talking about some creature living in the woods in Greenland, a Professor Hildegard, and she has been researching these creatures, and she's kind of fed up with the university life. She wants to get into the thick of it, or at least find out the truth of her research. One other thing is, I think that I did this off camera, but I did forget to trash one of these 2-cent cards last turn. So we're going to do that. Well, let's just get back into the game. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have 4 wilds, so I don't get to draw an extra card, and I've got 2 more of these trash after use 2-cent cards. Nothing really else in my hand. It's not a very useful hand. So I think I can bake whatever I want. I can make pretty much any word out of this. I could make any 5-letter word, and it doesn't even have to be 5 letters since these wild cards count for nothing. For instance, I could do bite. And I think since we're doing a paranormal story, we've already introduced tusks and talons into it, I think a good bite would be perfect. So let's cut away from the classroom since I'm a little hazy on what I was doing before, although I did create this sort of list of dramatis personae. So I've got Bobby Birdwick was the teenager who was killed by whatever the creature was in the woods. Professor Hildebrand. This is taking place in Greenland. And so far we've introduced it has black talons, possibly white tusks. I couldn't quite remember. And there were these ancient Ronin, probably Viking Ronin, right, if we're in Greenland, that were once tasked with hunting these things. Although they could have been Ute, whatever indigenous people, or at least semi-indigenous people, were there before the Vikings came to Greenland. Any case, so we've got a bite happening. It's not enough to purchase any of these cards here. But let's cut away from the classroom. And we're going to do another cut, kind of change the scenery around. So we are in the we are going to be in a coroner's office, or maybe not a coroner, like a basically forensic investigation room. Okay, so the coroner poked at the cold corpse of Bobby Birdwick. Wow, that's some bite wound. I'm very tired tonight. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so I think I want to get this 3-cent card because I think getting good buying power is really essential here. Although, plus 1 cent per wild in the word is also really, really good, and is going to feed into my ability. I think actually that's also quite good, because I could, for instance, have this word, right? If it had an S on it, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be fantastic, or at least a 6 cent. Yeah, maybe I should get that. I don't know, but when am I going to have more than 3 wilds in a word? So it's kind of balance each other out. We'll just grab the S. I already have an S, but we'll grab another S. All right, we're going to grab the S here, plus 1 cent per wild in the word. And 1, 2, 3, and we will shuffle up for the next hand. And we need to put a cube out. Let's go ahead and put a cube on this one. So we are now getting very dangerously close to losing the game. Remember, if we put the 5th cube out on anything, we have officially lost. All right. My gosh. Oh, you know what? I didn't trash my dang cards again. You have to trash this, and I believe there was an I that I also was supposed to have trashed. So let's shuffle this deck again, and we will draw a new hand of cards. I realize that there were some cards that I should have had in my hand because the deck was not completely depleted, but what can we do? Can't go back and redo that now. All right. Okay. Fine. That'll do. All right. Let's go to the next turn. Okay. Let's redo that last story piece because I feel pretty bad about it. It was pretty crappy. So let's say we're cutting over. So imagine a solid line or 3 asterisks or whatever you want to imagine across the page. The coroner stared at the body on the examination table. Jesus Christ, he muttered under his breath. What a fucking bite. Alright, there we go. And now we've got L-E-S and E-D. Now what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Hey, I'll be able to purchase one of these cards finally. Although if I purchase that, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble. But you know what? What can we do? So if I can play all of these cards, and it doesn't matter if I play the wilds or not, I can purchase the Chinatown Connection. Let's see. L-E-S-E-D, E-S-L-E-D, L-E-D-E-S. What can I make with these letters? Lested? Lested? Less. I mean, ED definitely sounds like the end of a word, right? But it doesn't have to be. Lead? Lead? Misled? Let me see. Nestled. Nestled. Whoa. N-E-S-T-L-E-D. That's how you spell nestled, isn't it? I believe it is. All right. N-E-S-T-L-E-D. Just then, the coroner noticed a glint. There was something nestled in the folds of the victim's neck, where the victim's neck had been torn open and the skin was folding over itself. Well, we're going to find out what that is next turn. But right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter word, which means I get this common, which is the space bar. I can create 2 words for plus 1 cent. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters, which means I can grab the Chinatown Connection. I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and hopefully sometime in the near future we'll be able to get the toughest list of them all that's got 7. Although it's going to be 8 next turn and then 9, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. Alright, That was a pretty good turn, right? Yeah, definitely. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will shuffle up, and we will draw our 5th card. Five. There we go. Now let's just get a sneak peek. No good. We're definitely going to lose if we continue playing with Mr. Humperdinck's. What was his name? Mr. Humdrum, Mr. Hummingbird, Mr. Hunter S. Jackson, Mr. Hullabaloo. I'm pretty sure I'm getting closer. Mr. Honeycutt. Mr. Honeycutt. That's right. Mr. Honeycutt. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose if we continue playing with Mr. Honeycutt's variant. So let's rein it in just a little bit. And let's say that every 2 cubes is a 1 cent increase in the cost of the word. In other words, just 1 cube, the word costs the same. 2 cubes, it's going to cost 1 cent more. 4 cubes is going to cost 2 cents more, and of course 5 cubes you lose. Let's see if we can deal with that. Alright, we've got a 3 cent word here. I mean, honestly, wait, yeah. Honestly, I don't know, because if I can't buy something this turn, and I can't buy something next turn, we've already lost the game. And I can't buy something next turn. I can't buy something this turn. My gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I guess that's it. I guess we've just lost the game. Because I definitely can't buy anything on either of these 2 turns. But let's see what we can do, what we can accomplish. We got R, T, and then 2 wilds and an S. So we could make a rats. We're not really going for length, right? So let's just go ahead and make a rats. And this last letter, so we get +1 card to our next hand. The police report had initially suggested that it was rats, but these weren't like any rats that he'd ever seen. I mean, this was a large wound. And I completely forgot the thread about something shiny within, like nestled into her neck folds. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so we got a 3 cents there. We're going to grab one of these. NG or AR? Which one is better? Well, I don't think NGS is very useful, but AR probably is a little better. We're just going to go with AR. All right. 4, 5, 6. All right. And since I couldn't buy anything, we're going to put a cube out. +1 card to your next hand. P blank 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 N. What can we make with P? 3 wilds and an N. Well, again, we're not going for length because we can't make 8 letters for sure. The one thing that he knew about rats, though, is that they were pack rats, right? This is where the expression came from. The thing that was nestled in the fold of her neck could have been the work of some form of rodent, or at least some other creature that preferred to gather shiny objects. He reached in and pulled out, at first it appeared to be some sort of a pin, a silver pin. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 points, and I've got +1 card for my next hand. Did I get my +1 card on this hand? I didn't. We've got +1 card here, and we're going to do this +1 card for this hand here. So, appeared to be some sort of a pin. And let's see what we can get for 3 cents. IS or NG? Let's see, I already have ON, I already have IN, I already have ED. I think I'm going to go with the IS. Of course, I could also get TE if I want to just... Actually, no, this is 3 cents. Did I just buy a 4-cent card for 3 cents on my last turn, too? I think I did. My gosh. I'm really out of it, I guess. Alright, so it was something like this. I'm pretty sure I should have gotten one of these. And let's get the... I mean, look at that. TEEAR. That would be fantastic. But let's go for... I already have several S's with that one, so we'll go for the TE there. And that means for this hand, we're going to go for... I don't think we have the S yet, so let's go for... If word scores 8 cents or more, plus 1 card for the next hand. We do want plus 1 cards here, so we'll go for the S. Okay. And we put out a cube, and now we've either lost it or we haven't. Let's see if playing Mr. Honeycutt's variant can sustain itself any longer, or if we need to tone it down and play with the standard cooperative variant. Let's see here. Nope, that was a wild. So, not going to get me any more points. I'm very, very close. I can get 6, and this would be playing with even my toothless variant of Mr. Honeycutt. This would be cost of 7. So, let's I guess end the video there. If you're really curious about how that variant would play out, well, that's how that variant would play out. I think we're going to do another video and maybe start from scratch and just play the standard variant and sort of see how it goes with this nice theme going on. Or maybe we'll just continue and we'll switch back to the standard variant. I think that's actually a really good move. So we're switching back to the standard variant. I might have wasted a few points earlier in the game from having these cards be a little bit more expensive than they would have been otherwise, but I think I haven't really terribly overpaid for anything. So we're just going to continue with the standard variant, but I'll make that a separate video, so if you're a purist and you don't want to see me essentially cheating on the game, at least the way that I set out to play the game, you can stop here. If you want to see how the story ends up, you can continue on to the next video.